tips today on how to improve our lives. Jason Womack, he is an author. He wrote that book. You saw the cover earlier. Your Best Just Got Better. What's the background of this book?
Background of this book is, for the past 15 years, I've been studying how people work. And I probably have the best job in the world, because when I go to work, I watch you work. And I'm always looking for one, maybe two, but usually one habit or routine that if we just shifted a little bit, huge impact would come.
And you reach potential.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that's the book. And today on the show, we are actually, he's being so generous. He is sharing some of the tips that are in the book. You still have to get the book, though, because a lot of explanations there. But in bullet points, we've talked about different tips today. But learning to delegate clearly, we know, learn to delegate. But then here you write, learning to delegate clearly. Much, much more clearly. What does that mean?
And this goes for work and life. When I ask my wife to do something, when she asks me to do something, I want to clarify. And the big ones are what, by when, and will I need any support in that? So what is it you're asking me to do specifically? If it's a project that I'm managing, can we clarify what the milestones would be from here to there?
And you're right, because milestones are measurable, and then at the same time, when you delegate and you don't delegate clearly and you don't get the results that you want, you end up redoing the whole thing. And so it's a waste of time and effort.
It is. And I'll bring in a little psychology here as well. When I build that milestone structure, I can actually create a mechanism so I can address the behavior that was performed, not the person performing the behavior. And I can catch it much more early.
Right.
So if something has not been done, because we set up a series of milestones with due dates, I can say, hey, Sam, you said you were going to have this by this date. What support do you need to keep on moving forward? Right. It looks like what you've done is not what you said you were going to do. You're fine.
Right.
You as a person.
As a person, yes.
What you've done is now being checked.
Okay.
And the sooner I can do that in the process of a delegable activity, the better all around. I save time, I save money.
You hold people around you accountable, those that you delegate work to, but then at the same time, you have to hold yourself accountable. And you write that here, tip number 11. You do that with end-of-day note cards. What is that? Is it like a report card for the day?
It's a report card for myself. I love how you say that. Absolutely. So for several years, and this goes back to when I was a high school teacher a long time ago, I would end every day with a 3x5 note card. I do this to this day.
Okay.
And a 3x5 note card, because I can actually fill one of those up in just a few minutes. And what I do is I write down, again, these topics, right? Who did I talk to today? What got done today? What surprised me today? And then the last thing I do every day, and you can see the one I did last night if you want, I write a word of the day.
What is the word? What is that? Is that a new?
It's me thinking, what was today all about in one word?
Oh, okay. And I think that will also help you remember your day, which is like a journal in a word.
I think so many times people get so caught up in the busyness of life and the life of business that we just get through. You'll hear a friend say, what day is it?
Right. So what was your word for last night?
Ask.
Ask, because you probably got to ask a lot.
Yesterday was a day of asking.
Yes.
And it was people asking me and me asking them. And when I thought about the theme of my day yesterday, that was the word that came to my mind.
Perfect. Very interesting. Day-to-day note cards. But then at the same time, you write here, implement a weekly debrief. What is that?
A weekly debrief is when I actually get to pause. And I have a saying here. Pause and project.
Okay.
And what I do is I pause, and then like you might hook a computer into a projector and have everybody around and watch a big screen on your wall. I'll project what happened over that week. If possible, I'll sit down with a mentor or a friend or someone who's going to ask me some of the hard questions. I tend not to do this with my wife because we're already talking so much during the week. We do run two businesses together as well as have our family. So I'll sit down with a mentor or a friend and I'll say, hey, ask me about my week. Now, the first time I do this, they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, just ask me a question. And then we'll start to talk about what happened last week. Who did I reach out to? Who did I talk to? What did I read? What did I learn?
Because that friend draws it out of you. Sometimes you forget about things, but when you're asked questions, you're forced to think about it and reflect. and look back. Do you suggest that we do this any day of the week, or Fridays, weekends, Saturdays, Sundays?
I'll give you two to avoid: Monday morning and Friday afternoon.
Okay, yeah.
Now, a whole bunch of listeners and watchers say, wait a minute, those are the best days. Monday morning, it's coming at you. I mean, you got the whole weekend you're trying to catch up on. And Friday afternoon,
nobody's
to try and think.
Right, exactly.
So I typically do mine Thursday mid-morning.
Okay.
Actually, and that's my pause and project point. Is Thursday sometime between 9 and 11. I'll look back over the week. Oh, great tip is to bring out your calendar. And look at those meetings you had, those events that unfolded, the holiday that you experienced, because that, again, will bring forward the memories of that past week.
And it's always good with coffee, correct?
I think people are just used to that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the show, Jason. We hope to have you back. For those of you, those are wonderful tips. If you want to read more, that's the website on the screen. If you want to get a copy of the book, Your Best Just Got Better. And hopefully, Jason, we will have you in other days here on the show.
I hope so.
Thank you so much, and more power to you. Thank you for joining us today on the show. This has been Janelle Sawyer, Kababayan in Los Angeles. Live better lives. Try to aspire for better lives. And we'll see you again tomorrow.